how do we touch each other's work and engage with the material culture of the cross-pollination? So how do you give up that sense of autonomy and ownership, but also consider the agency of sharing that autonomy within the practice of the visual arts? This exhibition features 10 artists, visual artists, mixture of textiles and fiber, as well as mediums such as ceramic, sculpture, photography, jewelry, and mixed media works.
The point of this exhibition was to have artists work together, co-create, if you would.
And within the show, we pretty much challenged each artist to engage in practice, process as practice, but also as art, and art as process. So they know, how do you engage with your counterpart working within the field? How do we touch each other's work and engage with the material culture of the cross-pollination? So how do you give up that sense of autonomy and ownership, but also consider the agency of sharing that autonomy within the practice of the visual arts?
So the idea for this exhibition has been in train for actually a few years now. We had previously curated 2 textile exhibitions, and we from that time felt that the natural progression was to see how it is that textile and fiber artists would in fact engage with the process and output of artists who are not textile and fiber artists, and vice versa.
We initially had fiber active germination, which strictly focused on textile artists who used that medium as their core. And then we had cross-pollination, in which we dabbled, or at least we mixed both textile artists along with artists who perhaps their predominant medium was painting or even illustration, but yet they used the medium of textiles in their practice. And then this one was really, okay, how do we now create a community that's not in their singular form or singular sense, where you have a textiles artist over there, painter over there, and they're in their groups, but bringing them together as one, allowing for the engagement as artists and the artistic community to now see each other's medium, see each other's practice, but also just figure out how then do we come together and co-curate with each other.
This exhibition allowed us as artists to explore working with other artists to integrate their mediums within our works, to create a different body of work, and also to have works that are centered around a conversation, whether it be our own culture, what is happening in society now, and whatever interests are there within the artist. My works are actually inspired by stories, and not only stories, they are actually things that are happening within our society now. You can see a sort of commentary, and my works tend to go along the direction where I want people to not just view the works but have a discussion. Right, so this piece entitled Nothing Left For Me is actually inspired by what is happening in the financial sector right now, where we have a lot of persons who are in charge of safeguarding our resources, and they are siphoning it off for themselves, and persons who are coming up right now, they have to be fighting for the what lefts that are within the various sectors. Now, as you see right here, the pot is actually a mixture of fiber and ceramic, and this is because we, the artists, collaborated in using our approach to creating this composition. It is a metaphorical representation, so the pot represents the financial sector, the persons who are in the financial sector. The holes in it represent what is being taken away from the financial sector. The shells right here going up are representing of the resources that are being siphoned away, and the fiber hanging out represents the what left that the people are actually fighting for. And we need to have this conversation because we don't want to have people who are coming up right now to be fighting for the what left, because there's actually enough across all sectors for all Jamaicans to have a part of. This piece is entitled Our Societal Bias, and it is inspired by what we have across all sectors, where you have persons who are capable of doing the job, you have persons who have the requisite skills, they have the knowledge, but yet they are always overlooked by other persons because they may not be of a certain economic stature, they may not have the appropriate links, they may not, as you would say, fall in line to what persons within a company or an agency would want them to do. So they are always overlooked. This is a ceramic sculpture inspired by shells. The artist that I was working with, her main motif was shells. So while she was focusing on the topic of memories and also how shells is used in currency, or as a form of currency, I decided to use the shell in a metaphorical point of view to discuss what we have in society right here. So again, the work is incorporated with ceramic and fiber art.
Each artist, I think, at this point in time, have a new output as to how they engage material, their own material as well as other materials. But also I think it has opened up the platform for them to even just consider, okay, this is how I once worked. I can now dive in a different direction, and I think that the success of that engagement would really show as years go by as to how they now advance with even just their work in general.
One of the things that we perhaps could point out is that the process or the responses to the processes by the artists have actually been documented, and these are available in video format on our YouTube channel, which is BLAQMANGO. So persons can in fact listen to and watch those videos and get a feel for what each peer went through. And when you go on the Black Mango YouTube page, you're looking for artists and conversations. And what we did there was to have each peer of artists share what their experiences were like, what the decision-making processes were like, but also just some of the other nuances, the things that underpinned what we get as the actual art objects in this exhibition. One of the things that we've also initiated during this process is to have students at the different stages in our education system engage with the processes and the artists with a view to instilling in our young creatives other ways of approaching that activity. So we see this, as we said, as a project. The exhibition is a manifestation of the outcomes, but we also see that project, if you would, continuing as far as inspiring alternate approaches to art making beyond this. And then following that, I'm sure there are other creative endeavors that we will be undertaking, but those details are in the embryonic stage at this point before we can say announce another undertaking of this nature.